Hello and welcome to Theater Operations Unleashed, the monthly show that explores the ins and outs of theater operations, management, facilities, and design. I'm your host, Raymond Kent. In each episode, we will be focusing on management, operations, design, trends, and best practices in the performing arts. I hope to bring you both insights from my 4 decades in the industry, as well as engaging conversations with theater professionals about the challenges and rewards of their work. We'll also cover a wide range of topics from budgeting and scheduling to marketing and audience development, theater technology, and many other related topics. Whether you're a theater maker yourself or just interested in the industry, I hope you'll find this podcast informative and inspiring. So sit back, relax, or lean in, and let's dive into the world of theater. Hello and welcome to Theater Operations Unleashed. I am here today with the lovely and talented Elizabeth Greer. Elizabeth is an awarded actor who has earned her MFA from the Yale School of Drama and a BFA from New York University's Tisch School of the Arts. She works regularly in episodic television with guest spots and recurring on many shows such as Succession, The Morning Show, Ray Donovan, and many more. She started her acting career on many New York and East Coast stages, such as Lincoln Center, Ensemble Studio Theater, and the American Jewish Theater, as well as Yale Repertory Theater. Elizabeth, welcome to the show. I'm so looking forward to getting into this conversation.
I'm so lucky to be here today, Ray. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. You and I, we go back many, many years, all the way back to Yale Drama School. And I have loved watching everything that you've been doing in your career, and following through with you and all the connections that we've shared and everything together. Really what I'd love for you to start us off with here is because of all these great successes that you've had in your career, right? And it's taken a lot of sort of twists and turns and, across multiple genres and everything. Can you talk to us a little bit about that path and what do you think helped you along the way and prepare you for where you are today and where you think you're going to go in the future?
That's a beautiful question. The first thing that came to mind is one of my favorite four-letter words, which is faith. Uh, we need faith in our world, I think, now more than ever. As they say, right? We all bleed the same color, and we all need faith right now. I don't see what else one can put in their gas tank, you know?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So, with a lot of the things that you've been doing, and it's quite an amazing thing, like you're DJing and you're drumming and you're acting and all that stuff. It's been so great to watch, right? And so much of what we
I think you need to get out more. Where did you see that on my media? You need to get out more,
yeah,
sir.
I know, right? But you've got all this versatility in what you do that has led you to a lot of the success that you've had, right? And so much of what we talk about within this show is operationally how that leads to success, right? Um, Many of my clients, many of the people that I engage with within the theater industry in particular, have this sort of multifaceted um, portfolio of talents that they can draw from in order to be successful in this crazy world of theater that we have, right? uh, Talk to me a bit about how you draw from your experiences and the various things that you have your fingers in, and how you leverage that in the success that you.
I love that. So I've always been pretty obsessed as an artist with two things, believe it or not, acting and music. And I've always been equally impassioned about both. And it was funny when I was a child, um, I begged my parents to let me have drums, and they said, "We don't want that noise in this house."
Yeah.
Pretty open and shut case there. In my later years, I decided to do my bucket list and um, go and explore, some DJ lessons, some drumming lessons. I really became a drummer, and my drumming fuels my sense of timing. I didn't understand until later in life how every discipline feeds itself. It's funny because what I look at when I study episodic TV, when I'm acting in episodic TV, or when I'm teaching episodic TV, is the exquisite employment of timing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, please
Well,
go ahead, please.
as you and I have talked about before, I used to do professional stand-up comedy, and that is all about timing, right?
Mm.
And I like yourself, I have a music background and played multiple instruments and stuff. So I totally get where you're coming from, and how important it is in the arts, and not just on the acting side. I mean, there's timing everywhere. How scenery moves, how costumes flow, costume changes happen. It's all about timing and everything. So go on. It's really interesting. I want to dig in a little bit more to that sort of musicality of it, and the tempo of the art of theater.
I love what you just said too about even costume and set changes. You're absolutely right. It's all on what we call a continuum, right? Which to me is not unlike a metronome that continues to go. It's all beats and timing throughout. It's not unlike athletics, right? And exquisite timing in sports. It's all choreography, Ray, isn't it?
It is. Oh, very,
But
very much so. Go ahead.
very much so. So I think with regard to timing, as far as verbiage, that's just another exquisite area of timing. I know you and I have very similar taste in playwrights. We were just recalling one of our favorite most important of all time American playwrights. And I know that you and I were saying again, it's quite masterful to be able to see and feel physically timing. And so I didn't understand until years of, I think, just the fun of the obsession of the work, that all great episodic television and theater to me is about timing. So there's it's so genre oriented. Various kinds of comedies, various kinds of dramas, again, be they network or streaming. Everyone knows all of these things, of course, that I'm regaling here. Every single show, right, is a deep and profound switch of rhythm, from soaps to hybrids to streaming to network to procedurals to commercials. Everything has its own exquisite, both physical and audio timing.
Hmm.
And I just became, I think, more and more interested in a very nerd out way in this through the years.
I recently came across, through social media, a recording of Liz Diamond, talking about the MFA directing program at Yale School of Drama, or David Geffen,
Mm. Hmm.
talking just about timing, about the program helping directors navigate that side of their talent, right? Um, but you can have timing between, where a director has their timing and an actor has their timing, and such as that, but they don't all line up. Or in my side of the world of audio, if you're not gen locking it all together, um, it doesn't work, right? And I think I've been to, as I'm sure you have, and maybe many of the listeners, been to a performance where that timing just is not right. And you might not be able, you're not going to sit in the audience and go, oh yeah, the timing is off, but you walk away feeling like something was amiss, right? um and so much of what I think we see in this industry
is that artistic endeavor of talent and timing and everything aligning also carries over into the business side of show business, right? Uh,
Mm,
when you go to an audition, how you approach an audition, how you manage staff in an organization, how you deal with boards, how you deal with funding, all of that I think has a timing to it, and that's why I think
mm.
people such as yourself, right? Like a lot of artistic leaders for arts organizations come from the directing and from the acting, and I know you have
Mm.
experience with both. And I think the ones that have that great sense of timing are the ones that are allowed to explore the business side in a different way than somebody who maybe isn't so attuned to
I couldn't agree with you more. And just another dork out moment for you. It's so funny. I thought of this as far as timing. Um, my kid happens to be visiting with us this week, and I got a, typical, teenage good morning kiss, non-kiss this morning that I always consider good luck.
that. Right?
Before I have to go tape an audition. And then I said to my kid, you know, thank you for the kiss. Believe it or not, for moms, as dorky as this sounds, they are good luck.
Yeah.
And of course, I got a yeah, mom. I was like, yeah, smell you later. But but I do actually feel, as dorky as it sounds, that the timing of the fact that I got a kiss on my forehead from my kid before an audition is good luck.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even that, right? I think it's and haven't you had many a chance meeting? In a way, this beautiful interview came about through a series of timing chances, right? That
Yes.
I was, kindly asked by Yale and Hollywood to, if I was interested in facilitating interviews this year for Yale and Hollywood.
Hmm.
And of course I said I was thrilled to do so. So I will be doing that throughout the year, starting next month, where I'll be interviewing various showrunners, artistic director or two who happen to attend Yale Drama School through Yale and Hollywood. But the timing of that, if I'm not mistaken, is what led me to you.
Yeah, it is. Well, you and I have stayed connected through the magic of social media, which has been great. And
Yes.
but I did see the announcement from Yale and Hollywood, and I believe I reached out to you to say congrats.
All right.
And we started the conversation around this. Talk to me a little bit more about that opportunity there, right? I think it's interesting about the importance of hearing from people within the industry, right? About hearing their
Sure.
experiences and stuff, which is exactly why Theater Operations Unleashed exists, right? And why what you're doing
Yeah.
with Hollywood exists. So what do you think your goals are for that? What do you want the listeners of that to get out?
Yeah, what a great question. Well, I'll tell you how it came about in a word. These lovely folks through Yale and Hollywood have an annual film festival. It's called the Yale Film Fest, and they have various folks who they feel have done well, in various areas who just so happen to have gone to Yale. And I was incredibly humbled by the fact that they asked me this year, as the only Yale School of Drama, or as we used to say, YSD, I believe,
Yep.
alum, to be on their once annual Yale Film Festival, where they have a quote unquote, you know, um, lovely board of people who they feel, have come to different places in entertainment from Yale. So it feels a little surreal. I'm very, very honored to be asked to do this. Because of that, I inquired as to whether or not there was any room to help out on the board. And this year, I've been granted a lovely privilege to interview people who went to Yale, who are having all kinds of wins now in the field. And it's just a celebration of them. And what it takes when I know this sounds so simple, but get really, really excited about doing a lot of work.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I I mean, it's gonna be tough work, and, there's a video going around, I don't know, that's viral right now that has a major celebrity saying, the key to life is doing something you don't like and doing it like you love it." I think it takes a long time to come to that conclusion. I'm all on board with that. I think at some point you need to fall in love with the idea of doing a lot of hard work.
Yeah. 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 I talk to my
But
son about that all the time, right? Because he's in college,
yeah,
and that there are things about some of his classes that he just doesn't like. It's like, right, but you have to approach it like you do. And how do you
yeah,
draw strength from it, right? Um,
yeah,
so in these interviews,
yeah.
it's more than just performers, right? You're going to be talking to arts leadership and things like that, and people in the film industry and people that have had some successes, right? And there are a lot of
Mm,
people, I'm sure, who are going to listen to these, whether part of YSD or part of the Yale and Hollywood or not, right? That are going to be looking at um, this for almost inspiration and guidance,
mm. Right,
um,
right.
and having had experience of having feet in sort of both sides of the world, from the acting side, the artistic side, as well as the business side, right? You have a really unique perspective there on running a business, maintaining your drive to perform, being in front of the camera on stage, and all of that, managing that balance while um, understanding that maybe isn't the sexy part of it,
Yeah.
and how important that is to
Mm,
that success that you're talking, right? So
mm, mm.
how would you approach, if you had a listener come up and say, "Oh, I heard this," what kind of advice would you give?
I think it's what I just said to you. It's so funny because don't we all get into this business, Ray, because we all have a Peter Pan complex, right? Right, we all want to play forever. Like I always tease my friends, I have a double degree in make believe,
Yeah, yeah,
you
absolutely.
know? And then I think the flip side is I think that I think that if you're lucky, your brain helps you to understand that it's going to be a lot of hard work, and the only thing you can do is get on board with that and see it as fun, because there's nothing you can do to change that,
Right.
right? Any attitude at it or resentment, anger, something, I don't think, I could be wrong, that that's conducive to the progression that you would need to see and want to see and be happy to see, you know?
Yeah, I think that positivity has to be a key factor in it, right?
Mm, mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and but for me, it also has to be backed up with a plan, as you and I have talked, right? You have to
Yeah,
have that plan. What are the steps you're going to take, and what is, to your point, the hard work that you need to put in to drive that success? Like, you've put in a lot of hard work, but you've got a plan, and
yeah,
you've, even though the plan is not linear, there's twists and turns, there's setbacks, this, that, and the other. I think one of the challenges often people have is they're afraid to fail. And
right,
instead of taking a failure and looking at it as an opportunity rather than
right,
disastrous. So, what can
right.
you do to minimize that failure in a negative light and maximize it as a learning experience and an opportunity to either correct course or analyze, maybe what worked or didn't work. Again, you and I have talked about comedy, right? I could do the exact same set in front of two different audiences and have two totally different reactions. Totally different
Mm.
reactions. Just like you could be on stage and have one audience, in a comedy that's boisterously laughing, and the next night they're just dead silent. And
Yeah.
how that impacts the psyche of a performer, right? Um, but being able to take that uh, and learn from it and grow from it, I think is something that oftentimes isn't talked about, isn't encouraged, isn't um, driven home, right? To drive that success, whether it's on the artistic side of the industry or on the business side of the industry. Um, you know what I'm saying?
I do. I think I know today we have a shorter show, so maybe I can close on this question because I think it's a really important one. I think what's not discussed enough in this world regarding art, or honestly any profession I can think of, is fitness,
Yeah,
emotional wellness, spiritual wellness, physical fitness. I think that with every lesson that you learn, if you're very, very lucky, because I've been very lucky to see the light about things that I had to add or let go of in my life, physical things, material things, dietary things, all kinds of things that I had to add or let go if I was going to be an Olympic athlete. Because, as we used to say at Yale Drama School, it's like the Olympics, what we do. It's like the Olympics. So I think with every lesson, you learn that there's a variety of things that you need to face. What is no longer working for you, right? What is something that may be harmful to your health?
yeah,
Everything you do at a certain age actually needs to keep the arrow moving the right direction, putting things into your body that are only good for you.
sure.
Any right, you gotta go ahead and let go of things that their only presence is there to make you unhealthy. That doesn't make sense when you get very serious about your own career.
I agree. I can't disagree at all at that scene. I mean, it's so interesting to me at people that do things that are detrimental to their own physical well-being, and how much that translates into
Mm,
what they do for a living or a hobby in some cases, or anything that they're passionate about. It
mm.
really does carry through um, in so many ways that can undermine that feeling of success, or how you approach things. Um, you might be not sleeping well, or maybe you don't get enough exercise, or whatever
Mm.
it is, that you start to feel the negative consequences about it in your own body, and then you're not mentally and physically prepared to focus in the best way you can of your own self into what you want to drive towards success in your career, right? Um,
That's so beautifully put. And in that way, you're your own worst enemy. And the last thing you want when you put your head on the pillow at night, at the end of the day, and it takes some people longer in their lifespan than others, and some people never learn these things. I was incredibly blessed to do so. When you put your head on the pillow at night, you want to know that you gave it all you could and you were super positive and that it was coming from a life of health and happiness. Otherwise, what was the point though?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think so many people just figure, oh, it's the daily. You hear about the daily grind, right? Oh, I got a
Mm.
job. I got a job, and they're going to go to my job, and they're so miserable in their job. I think the statistic that I heard recently was at 75%, and don't hold me to this because it was on the interweb, but
Yeah.
75% of people today are dissatisfied with their career and their job, right? That's why you have all this quiet
Oh,
quitting,
easily.
quiet quitting and all this other stuff going on. And I feel bad because why can't people find that balance between what they do with their time, which is so valuable? It goes back to timing again, right? With their time that they have and the cadence of their life to make it meaningful and to be able to drive that way in something that you're passionate about is going to drive success. And when you're successful, even if it's not monetary success, but if you, and I think people get hung up on the monetary aspects of it because our culturally we push that. But I think if you can get to a successful place in your life, that will follow, but you will also be happier and more willing to dedicate that time and make better, timely decisions that continue that success alone. Does that make sense?
It makes so much sense. I know that, um, as I see here, this is the last few minutes, so I'll make sure that I end this on time for you. I happen to have a family that's extremely involved in civil rights, and the sooner you can, as both a business person and an artist, understand the simplicity. I know it sounds like an eye roll, but that it's not about you,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? The sooner you please go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, nope. I was just agreeing with you.
I mean, you're such a profound man. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it in closing.
I agree with you. It's not always about you, and I think that there are people that look too inward and are constantly analyzing themselves and this and the other, and that sometimes it's about what you give that is better than what you get. And it's the
Mm,
idea that if you give something to somebody without anything in return, without the
mm.
expectation of anything in return, that you often are happier with the thought of giving. And again, that to me leads to success. Success of the mind, success of the body, success of the will, all of those things. Yeah, and civil rights. I mean, there's a great example. When you look out for the betterment of mankind, for all mankind, without expectations of things in return, that you can have a greater satisfaction, I think, in your own well-being in your own life. That's my perspective. I do know that
Right.
we are short on time here. I'd love to have you come back. And
Would you? I would be so
absolutely.
lucky to do so.
And I know this is like a little special podcast that we're doing here, and I'm so excited to have had the opportunity. I do have one final question for you, and
As always, anything for you.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Favorite hip hop artist and song, and why?
I love this madly. There are so many I wouldn't know where to begin, but I will say that Biz Marquis's album 1, 2
Okay,
changed my life.
all right. All right. So everybody go find that, and hopefully it'll
Yep.
change your life too. Elizabeth, thank you so much for your time today. As always, what a pleasure to have an opportunity to speak with you. I love our chats. I love being in connection with you and seeing all the wonderful things that you do in your career. For everybody else, I hope you all have continued success in your endeavors as well. And tune in next time when we have more great conversations with leaders in the industry talking about theater operations, design, management, and all things arts related. Until then, you have a great day.
Thanks for taking the time today to listening to Theater Operations Unleashed. We hope to see you next month.